Hello, my name is James Seymour, and I'm the Associate Principal and Second Trombone of the San Antonio Symphony. I was originally scheduled to do this presentation at the Cody Library branch, but it was unfortunately canceled. But thankfully, I can talk to you all digitally. I would love to tell you all a bit about myself, how I became a musician, how the trombone works, and then play for you a wide variety of musical examples to show you just how much the trombone can do. So although I now live in San Antonio, I'm originally from Columbus, Ohio, way up in the frozen tundra of the Midwest. My dad was a band director and trombonist, so I was exposed to music, specifically the trombone, from an early age. I took up the instrument, started taking lessons, played in school band, and then extracurricular musical activities outside of school, all the way starting in 5th grade and going through high school. It then came to be the time that I had to choose where I wanted to go to college and what I wanted to do with my life, so I took a leap of faith and auditioned at several schools to be a trombone performance major. I was lucky enough to get into Northwestern University, which is just north of Chicago, and that's where I did my undergraduate degree, and then I did a year of master's work at the Colburn School in Los Angeles. Both of these schools were amazing, and I owe them pretty much everything that I have in my life to those places. And then in June last year, I auditioned for the San Antonio Symphony and was fortunate enough to win. So I drove down from Ohio with all my earthly possessions and set up shop, and I've loved every minute on the job since. But enough about me, let's talk about this shiny guy, the trombone. The trombone is a member of the brass family of instruments. We sit next to the trumpets, the French horns, and the tuba in the orchestra. Now the way we make sounds on brass instruments is we blow air and we buzz our lips, like this. Yeah? And then we take the mouthpiece, this guy comes out, and we do the exact same thing into the mouthpiece, but it sounds a little bit different. Hear that? But then we take the mouthpiece, we put it back into the trombone, and we play, and it sounds a whole lot better. Much better, right? I think the way that we change notes on the trombone makes it the most fun and unique instrument out there. And we do that with this guy, the slide. See, it moves. No other instrument really has anything like this. But let's talk about the trumpet, for example. They have buttons or valves that they push down to change notes, but instead we have the slide. And I'll show you how that works. That last smeary sound, or glissando, is one of my favorite things to do on the trombone. And we always have a really good time when we get to do that in music. Some composers picked up on that glissando idea and wrote entire pieces that kind of feature it, such as Lass's Trombone by Henry Fillmore. Lass's Trombone is a trombone feature piece originally written for wind band. Now, wind band is what you would see if you saw a high school band, a military band, or a marching band. Pretty much every trombonist, if not all, trombonists got their start in wind bands. Wind band playing is something people immediately associate with trombone. You see a trombone, you think band. Are there any other kinds of music you would immediately associate with the trombone? I think jazz is one of those next. I don't usually get to play jazz being in a symphony, so if you'll indulge me, I'd like to play a little bit for you just so you get a sense of what jazz trombone is like. This is I'm Getting Sentimental Over You. last kind of music I think people immediately associate with the trombone is big, loud orchestral music. And this is the kind of music I play at the symphony. I think a really good example of this is Richard Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries. I think you'll know this one. So that covers the three kinds of music that I think people immediately associate with the trombone. Wind band, jazz, and big loud orchestral music. But there's so much more the trombone can do than those three that people wouldn't really even ever imagine. For example, some composers like to write passages for the trombone that kind of sound like other instruments. These are my favorite kind of things to play in the orchestra because you get to put on a different hat. The famous composer Richard Strauss wrote a piece called Till Eulenspiegel's Merry Pranks, which is about a mischievous prankster. In this piece, their trombone is given a solo passage that's kind of sneaky and playful, that I think sounds like a woodwind instrument, like a clarinet, oboe, or bassoon. Kind of fun, right? And in the Finnish composer Jean Sibelius' Seventh Symphony, the trombone is given a lush and soaring solo that reminds me of the romantic horn solos that composers often write. There are plenty of great orchestral pieces with awesome trombone parts, and we even have a few really big solos called concertos written for our instrument. But trombones are often guilty of borrowing music from other instruments because at the end of the day, there really aren't that many big solo pieces written for the trombone. Those other musicians call it stealing, but don't worry, we always give the music back. Johann Sebastian Bach, one of the most famous composers of all time, wrote 6 massive solo cello pieces called suites, and trombonists often borrow these pieces. Today I'll be playing you the beginning of the prelude to Bach's second cello suite. Now, my favorite music to borrow is vocal music. I think the trombone is really well suited to borrow vocal music, and I'll tell you why. Think about it. When you sing, your vocal cords are vibrating, and when you play trombone or any other brass instrument, your lips are vibrating. That makes singing and brass playing the only kind of music making where your body, vibrating, a part of your body, is making the sound and the music. Everybody else, it's either a bow drawing across a string, like a stringed instrument, or a reed vibrating on a woodwind instrument, or if you're a percussionist, you hit something with a mallet. I think that provides wonderful natural music making, just like singing. The final selection I'll be playing for you today is from Robert Schumann's Dichterliebe, the seventh song, entitled Ich grole nicht.
Wow.